Hello and welcome. Now that we got the Docker desktop installed and configured, and we have Open Web UI going, and we also have the AI models locked and loaded, let's make this feel like our own enterprise AI portal and not just another chatbot. So, with that being said, my long term goal is to get ZACnet going, which is going to include infrastructure engineering, automation, and SOC operations, and maybe a little bit of social media, YouTube. So, what we're going to do is we're going to organize Open Web UI around how this is actually going to play out. So, first things first, let's open up Open Web UI. And in here, we're going to set up a clean foundation. So at this moment, we can see that we are logged in and we have all these nifty tools that we can use. I am going to create some folders on here. And to start off with, I will call this one as ZACnet infrastructure. And I can also give the folder a background image and a system prompt. And we'll talk about this more later. But for right now, I'm just creating folders. And the main purpose of this is going to be looking around Hyper-V, VMware, Active Directory, DNS, DHCP, PKI storage, and enterprise architecture. So let's go ahead and save this. I'll create another folder. We'll call this one as automation. And create a third folder. This one is going to be called security and SOC. And then I'll create a folder called Cloud and Azure. And then we'll create a folder called ZACnet Media. And lastly but not least, I'll create another folder called Learning. And this is going to include Microsoft Learn, Cisco Docs, RFCs, research, and things of that nature. Let's hover over to the ZACnet infrastructure and go on edit. And here, I'm going to tell it what to do. And I'll probably tell Quen 30B that you are a senior enterprise infrastructure architect, an expert and a scholar in Windows Server, Hyper-V, VMware, Active Directory, PKI, DNS, DHCP, PowerShell, Cisco, Palo Alto, Arista, Fortinet, Ubiquiti, Eve NG, LAN, WAN, Enterprise, Networking, Storage, Azure. And we can also select a knowledge base if we decide to add that on here, but let's go ahead and skip that option for now. And I'm going to hit save. And let's call this chat as Enterprise Architect. And of course, we're using Quen 30B for this. And it's thinking, it is thinking. Stats are going up, of course. And this is the first chat that I'm doing, so I might just be going on. I'm just testing it out. And it's thinking. Ah, great. Excellent. So it looks like it works. I'm going to delete this chat. Hover back over here. Go on edit. And I'm probably just going to add something else to this as well. Always provide production ready solutions. Explain why something should be instead of only how. Prefer industry standard best practices. And instead of calling this ZACnet infrastructure, let's call it as infrastructure. I think that's a great idea. So, yeah, we got this folder going. Excellent. Let's hover over to automation and do the same for automation. And I will tell this prompt that you are an infrastructure automation engineer. Generate production ready. PowerShell, Python, Terraform, Ansible, Docker, Kubernetes. Always write fully documented scripts. Avoid placeholders. Explain every function. And optimize for Windows Server and infrastructure environments. So let's hit save on this guy. That is done. Let's hover over to security and SOC. And we will tell it the prompt as well. You are a tier 3 SOC analyst, expert in Wazoo, Windows event logs, Microsoft Defender, MITRE ATT&CK, SOC 2, NIST, ISO 27000. Always explain attack path, severity, and risk, remediation, detection logic, provide PowerShell where applicable. Awesome. So we got this guy locked and armed. Let's hover over to Cloud and Azure. You know what? I'm going to rename this guy as our SOC Analyst. And then on Cloud and Azure, we'll keep the same name. I think that's a good idea. Or we can just call it Cloud Architect. And I'll write a prompt here. You are a Microsoft Azure and Cloud Architect, expert in Azure, Intra ID, conditional access, identity, Azure networking, virtual WAN, Bicep, Terraform, design enterprise environments. I'll add Google Cloud on here as well. Google Cloud, AWS. And as need, we can add more prompts on here. Okay. So in automation, we got DeepSeek Coder. And in our SOC Analyst, we have Quen. I think Quen is a good idea for this one. All right. So ZachNet Media, we'll keep this as Quen, obviously. And let's modify this. You are a social media growth strategist. Produce SEO, titles, descriptions, pin comments, tags, community posts, thumbnail ideas, YouTube, LinkedIn, TikTok, and other platform shorts, target audience, infrastructure engineers, Windows admins, network engineers, cybersecurity professionals, focus on high click through rate without using misleading clickbait. Awesome. And then for learning, we'll move it over to command for the default model. And we'll edit this guy. We can probably call this guy as, instead of learning, let's name it as a research assistant. And we'll tell it to summarize PDFs, compare documentation from Microsoft, compare documentation from Cisco, compare documentation from industry leading vendors, explain difficult concepts easily or in easy way, always cite the reasoning from supplied documents when possible. So looking at the different personalities, we have the enterprise or the infrastructure person that's going to design the labs. We have the automation person, they're going to write scripts. And we have the SOC analyst, they're going to analyze the logs. And the cloud architect, they're going to be looking at Azure and Intra ID, AWS, Google Cloud. And then we have the ZachNet media producer that creates content. And then, of course, the research assistant that reads the documents. So this is it for right now. And I'll see you guys in the next video.